Josh and Frankie. What a couple of dumb shits.
Hello, Primates! You found Primus Tracks. Congratulations! There are many places to find Primus Tracks, including this podcast. We are also at Primus Tracks on Instagram and Threads. There is a Facebook page appropriately called Primus Tracks, and we have an email address if you would like to send an email. It is primustrackspod@gmail.com. I am Josh, joining us from the 39th floor of Primus Tracks Towers, Frankie Berestein.
Hey, Josh.
Here we are, Frankie. We are mired in Of Whales and Woe, and you look happier than a pig in poop.
It's amazing how far we've come.
Here we are. Today we are talking about Lust Stings. Ouch! Track 3 from Of Whales and Woe. We'll get to that momentarily, but first, miscellaneous debris time. What's going on out there in the world, Frankie, that we should inform the people about?
Upcoming tour.
That's right! Santa! Woohoo! Oh, wait. You're saying there's something else.
Yeah, they're cooking up a tour post Santa with Huff and the promise of the full catalog, because we know that they're playing hits at Santa. So during their headlining tour, God knows what they'll pull out.
Pretty exciting stuff that we're going to get a short tour following Santa. That is courtesy of Les Claypool on the Ryan Russillo podcast. By the time you guys listen to this, there may be dates already. What kind of odds do you want to put on them playing Shreveport, Louisiana, Frankie?
I'm betting they're going back there, and they're doing Amos Moses.
They got to do it just for John Hoffman, the
Yeah.
pride of Shreveport, Louisiana. I keep saying it wrong. I'm sorry. Louisiana. That's the home state of John Hoffman, newly minted Primus drummer. I really hope they hit all the best spots. You know, Shreveport, Oregon, Mexico City. There's a lot of great cities out there for them to visit. So keep your eyes peeled to primusville.com and their socials for tour dates. Enough of that business. Track 3 from Of Whales and Woe is titled Lust Stings. Checks in at 4 minutes and 9 seconds. And as we've mentioned on previous commentary about this record, there's a reason the record is called Les Claypool Of Whales and Woe. Here are your credits. Ready?
Yeah.
Les Claypool, bass, vocals, guitar, drums, percussion, Skerrick, saxophone. The end. Tour de force.
How about we introduce this track by using Les's own introduction for the track?
That would be... Did you know the metadata has the artist as Primus on both of these, by the way?
Absolutely.
It flustered me for a moment. I went, there's no fucking way Primus played this. Oh, jeez. All right, here's the Whales bonus. We'll hear Les in his own words.
So, this is something off of Whales and Woe. You know, as you put a record together, there are various components. You lay it together, you try and, get some continuity going between the songs. Thank you very much. And there are different pieces. So we did that one better. That's kind of like maybe that's like the bicep of the record. It's like the bicep. Like the bicep. Rumble of the Diesel's kind of like the hips. Got the hips in there. This one, I can honestly say, this is the scrotum of the record.
Amen. Tell us a little bit more about the scrotum of the record, Frankie. Live history, so on and so forth.
All right, here's the life history of Scrotum. It was premiered on June 1st, 2006, at the Warfield in San Francisco. It was performed extensively by the Fancy Band throughout 2006 and 2007. Then the torch was passed on to the Fungi Band, which performed the song quite a bit during 2009, a few times in 2010, and then the song was put to rest until its 2023 resurrection via the Frog Brigade. So, Lost Stings has effectively been performed by three different Les Claypool bands. Trivia: this is Cheney's least favorite song Les has ever written.
And he's more than happy to announce it at live
He's more than
gigs.
happy, yeah. Yeah.
And of course, it has to do with the lyrical content, although I must say it's quite a marriage between the lyrics and the music. Now, he called it the scrotum of the record. I'm going to take it one step further and say it's the swampy scrotum of the record. Like when you've been out on a humid day for hours on end, that's the type of scrotum this is.
Yeah.
It's dripping. It's interesting that it survived this long, and it was really fun to hear it on the Frog Tour on my stop in 23. Frankie, did you get it in the round?
I did not get Lost Stings. I have never witnessed Lost Stings live.
Wow, you're missing out on quite a cautionary tale. In fact, I'm not sure what you're missing out on by not having seen Lost Stings live. It's an interesting one live. I have to say that, Frankie. It's certainly not the hip shaker, like Les would say, but there's a fair amount of swaying going on in the crowd during this one, and maybe some contemplation by the audience as well, maybe about the subject.
It's also interesting because you know how when it comes to Primus, some fans will say that it's kind of strange when a show ends with "Here Come the Bastards."
Oh, sure.
It's kind of the same during a Les Claypool solo show. Sometimes he would use Lost Stings as the encore. Great song, but kind of strange for an encore, right?
That is an interesting choice because I wrote my notes. It plods along, so it's not necessarily an upbeat closer or even a psyched out, trippy closer, which tend to be what he goes for. So instead, we get this piece to close proceedings. And to me, hearing this song live, I'm always ready for another one. I'm always ready for the next song because it doesn't have an air of finality to it whatsoever, in my opinion. If this is the closer, I might be a bit stymied.
I would feel something similar if I got this as an encore.
And there's nothing wrong with being jarred by the closer either. I think it's fun to do that. I think it keeps even the most religious fans, such as Frankie, on their toes.
At bay. Yeah.
At bay. What, so you don't charge the stage?
It keeps us grounded. Yeah.
He sang that song about the STDs. I should really make better choices. Hey, the show's over. Where'd they go? Maybe that's the point. Maybe it's to disarm the audience. So, yeah, this one is rife with instrumentation, of course, with Les on so many instruments. The bass leads, of course. There's a really nice bass tone on this one. Les is having some fun on the hi-hat, on the drums as they plod along. I also use the descriptor swampy for the guitar as well. I think Les's guitar line is pretty cool on this one, and it's, often when he plays the guitar line on his solo records, it's there for some layering, and some of them are pretty cool, but I think this one is exceptional as far as adding atmosphere.
It's very original.
It is, and it does seem that he has learned a lot from the guitarists he's played with over the years. And I'm not saying he's doing a Larry Lalonde impression, but he certainly is filling the space nicely. And so, because he's seen, up to this point, 2006, he's seen Laird do that like a pro for over 15 years. So he's He's got probably has that in his ear.
You described the song as a cautionary tale. That fits. I think it fits perfectly with the narrative and the concept of the record of Wales and Woe. Besides being the title track, each song kind of reads like either a cautionary tale or a nostalgic memoir by someone, probably in the corner, in the shadows at some old bar or something like that, right? It's got this sailor theme to it. It's got this nautical theme throughout, in a very nostalgic way, with a very melancholic tone.
Maybe maybe you're onto something here. These many of these tracks do have a dirge tinge to them, I suppose, whether it's lyrically or musically. This one certainly does in both realms. I wonder if there's a kindred spirit, in the music world to this one. I don't know why Ween's Blarney Stone comes to mind, but I think it's there's similarly crusty characters in those two. But I think you're right. Maybe we should watch for that throughout the rest of this record and its lyrical and musical content, and see if more of these tracks fall into that category of crusty old sailors telling their tales. What do you make of the vocals on this one? Because we get a variety. We get a really nasal, clean vocal. We get the Sandman mic. We get some elongated singing to a degree. We get some storytelling. This one, and maybe that's what, to me, maybe that's what I'm pulling from to make the connection to the dirgy atmosphere. But what are you taking from it?
I think it's less in character, in full character.
Yeah, and we've talked about this on other tracks where we get more than one voice, and I think with the two different microphones that we're getting that here, especially just that dichotomy between Clean and Sandman.
Yeah.
Now, is this one a vocal earworm for you, Frankie? Do you find yourself walking around town singing this one to yourself?
It is not. That would be one better for me.
Okay.
I mean, Lost Stings has never been an earworm for me, but it's always been a cool song in terms of the way that the record transitions between tracks. I think it's the perfect follow-up to One Better, which is perhaps, I mean, at least for me, the most compelling song on the album. And then Lost Stings, it's kind of understated compared to One Better, which gives the record space to breathe. And then, we'll get to the following track later, but I think as with other Les Claypool releases, the positioning of the tracks is very well executed.
Oh, sure. Yeah, to start with our psychedelic intro with Back Off Turkey, and then hit us with the big one, with the bicep of One Better, and then take us straight to the crotch for Less Stings. Now, I pose that question to you, Frankie, because one, it was an earworm for me at the time of release, and because it's a really catchy vocal, especially the chorus, or the Sandman part, I suppose. And I wanted to offer you a piece of advice, which is if you do find yourself walking around town singing this song to yourself, sing it really softly, especially especially one specific part. This one, it certainly was. The other thing that this has going for it, Frankie, is that sing-song quality, and Les, once again, like he did a couple of times on Purple Onion, he draws from old children's songs or nursery rhymes. And so that chorus of "Nobody likes me, everybody hates me, I'm gonna go eat some worms."
This time I'm familiar with that one.
You knew that one?
Yeah, because there's an equivalent in Spanish.
Oh, no way! Is it?
Yeah.
Is it?
And it's exactly the same.
Okay. Can you drop it on us in Espanol, please?
So that's el gusanito. Nadie me quiere, todos me odian. Mejor me como un gusanito. Nobody likes me, everybody hates me. I'm gonna eat me some worms. It's exactly the same. So this is also a nursery rhyme in Spanish.
Excellent. And it made the full translation. That's excellent. That just reminds me that every once in a while, when I'm messaging with somebody, including you, I'll ask the question, ¿Por qué me odias? Which is always fun to drop on people. I did a little reading on this one. It seems to span time immemorial. There is no concrete foundation for this one. And who knows if it even is original to English. Maybe it started it in another language. But for those of you who haven't heard it, it certainly comes from an old kid's song. And for those of you unfamiliar, here's what it sounds like on ABC Kids.
Nobody likes me, everybody hates me. Guess I'll go eat worms. Big, fat, juicy ones, long, thin, slimy ones. Itsy bitsy, fuzzy, wuzzy worms. Down goes.
That's enough of that. Of course, everybody listening to this, Frankie, is now hearing those kids in their head singing, I got the herpes. Anyway. So that one...
Amazing. Yeah. Only Les would combine a nursery rhyme with that line, right?
He's really putting two vastly different things together, for sure. And mining that territory has been really useful and effective for him up to this point.
Now, what is reconnoiter?
Oh, great question. So reconnoiter, if you're familiar with the term reconnaissance, to reconnoiter is to conduct reconnaissance, such as surveying an area, or usually, of course, it's used in a military context, but it's to survey an area. So when he's saying, should have took time to reconnoiter, I interpret that as him saying, I should have asked my partner and probably checked myself for STIs before we had sex.
Okay.
Which makes perfect sense in the context of the Sandman chorus. So I probably should have been a bit more cautious before we rolled in the hay. The other part is just preceding that, he says, it's been so long since we've really talked about things, which sounds like the narrator is revealing this diagnosis to a partner, who then, of course, is going to have their own set of worries. And, of course, I know Frankie's mind goes straight to the episode of The Office where Michael thinks he has herpes.
Yes, and he begins those hilarious phone calls. I remember that.
Oh, wonderful stuff. Cringe City in that one.
Yeah.
Oh, man. So I wanted to play a few parts of this one because this, maybe surprisingly, is one that really sticks with me from the record. Now, we've discussed it at length already. This is a strong record front to back. But this one has stuck out to me for years, and maybe it does have to do with the wordplay in the song title. Of course, if you combine the two words, you get lustings, and so of course somebody acting upon their lust, and then the consequence, at least in this song, is that lust stings. The pain, of course, stemming from the herpes earned, the STI earned through this encounter,
and that pain is very well represented by the music, which is quite harsh. The drums, particularly. Yeah. There
is something about those drums and the sprinkles of percussion and the tone of the guitar and all that it's just so grimy. I wrote in my notebook that this tune wallows in its own filth. And I think that's apt.
I agree.
And I think over the years, I think my senses have become more refined, but, I used to take a lot of joy in crass humor and media and that sort of thing. Certainly not to the degree I do to this day, but certainly not to the degree that I did then. So, and I think I've covered this territory before on this podcast, Frankie. For me, it has to have a point. It can't just be gross to be gross or shock to be shocking. And unless, of course, never really takes it that far. He's got a point to the lewdness or the visceral nature of the lyrics and music. So, and that certainly holds here. So, and I think that's why this holds up.
I agree with you.
You ever notice how Jerky Boys routines, they're just not funny 20 years on, or as funny. So I just wanted to play the intro to give us a sample of this groove that he cooked up. So that guitar line, Skerrick, of course, is supporting with the saxophone, but he's largely doubling the bass there. And then the drum and percussion just going so slowly, it does feel like I'm wading through something, some kind of swamp. And it just gets us into the mood right away, and it never lets go. Like, we're in that morass the entire time.
Yeah.
And even in that little part where it feels like we're about to step out of it, we step right back in. When there's a bit of a step up, it just we can't get out. I'm gonna forward ahead a bit so we can hear about some worms and some of the supporting instrumentation. Now listen to that hi-hat and guitar. I know it's hard to pay attention to the hi-hat and the guitar when you hear that commentary from the Sandman mic. But you can hear him, making a little fun hi-hat pattern. That guitar stands out on its own momentarily, and then locks back in. So there's a little bit of mathiness happening with some of it, on kind of a basic 4 level, but it's pretty cool. And I think the highlight for many of our listeners is going to be this saxophone solo. Frankie, what do you make of this solo?
I love when Skerrick contributes sax to any track. It just elevates it more. It just makes it that little bit more epic.
Would you call this surf saxophone or herp saxophone?
Herp saxophone.
This is the world premiere of herp saxophone on Primus Tracks. So Skerrick breaks a lot of rules in his music, and I welcome it every time because he's largely going on feeling and just rolling. But in this solo, he's sticking within the structure of the tune, and he's keeping it super groovy, Frankie.
Yeah.
Feels great, even though we're in the crotch swamp. It just sounds nice. It's almost like a reprieve, like we've put a soothing balm on the cold sores. And then the vocals near the end, there's a lot of great vocals throughout this one, Frankie, but here's near the end is probably my favorite vocal utterances. And the song starts to make its way out. But the la 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 is a lot of fun. And I'm holding on to that note. Pretty good. Tough to do. So pretty cool performance throughout on all these instruments. And this is one of those tracks where the bass is not, despite laying the foundation, it's not front and center and the star of the show. And so the
sax stole the show, I would say.
And Les is just building the house on this one, as opposed to some kind of monolith. And it's quite a nice house, musically. The other note I made, Frankie, and I mentioned I'll walk around and just kind of hum/sing the tune because it's so sing-songy. It's also a great tune for making mouth noises or singing along or doing the instrumentation like your mouth is full. I don't know why, but I always envisioned that you could approximate the instrumentation if you put big marshmallows in your cheeks and then just started making noise. I've actually never tried that, so maybe we'll do an extra special bonus episode for the people over at patreon.com/Primus Tracks. We'll play a big community game of Fluffy Bunny /Lust Stings. Are you in?
I'll watch.
You can be the judge. All right, lyrics, Frankie. We should actually start by talking about herpes. And I'm not like your dorm RA, giving you the facts and telling you to make good choices. But I do think it's important to throw some stuff out there, Frankie, because I think that people corner herpes as just an STI when it's not. It's like herpes is this family of viruses, but probably the two most prevalent and I would say pervasive just because of their nature are herpes 1 and 2, which are often the result of intimate contact. One of them usually presents around the mouth with cold sores, the other one in the genitals. There's a few others, Frankie. Have you ever had chicken pox?
I did not.
Oh, you lucky devil. Well, don't get it as an adult. But chicken pox, and later on, of course, that's the virus that also causes shingles. That's herpes virus 3. Herpes virus 4 is Epstein-Barr, which mononucleosis, or the kissing disease, is one of those. Epstein-Barr is pretty brutal. And then herpes virus 5, one of the more prevalent of the main types, has a really cool name, cytomegalovirus. Cool word, lousy virus. So if you've had chickenpox, you have a form of herpes. If you've had shingles, congratulations, you have a form of herpes. It's just it's a catch-all name for all this family of viruses. It reminds me, Frankie, that when I had shingles a couple of years ago and went to get my prescription for antivirals filled, that's when I learned that the same medication is issued for shingles as for herpes 1 and 2, the STIs. I felt like I needed to explain myself to the pharmacist. No, I just have shingles. Don't worry. But because, of course, there's stigma around STIs. But it was a strange moment in time for me. Anyhow, clearly these lyrics are about the STI variety of herpes. And they are quite visceral lyrics, even though they're kind of matter-of-fact, Frankie. It opens with, "It's been so long since we've talked about things. Should have took time to reconnoiter," which is that I probably should have been cautious. And then we get the childhood, "Nobody likes me, everybody hates me.
Yeah.
Eat me some worms." And then the next part, I'll let you recite the next lyric. I'm kidding. I'll say it. Then he goes on with, and for those of you that like to cut up the podcast, here you go. "I got the herpes on my pecker. Sometimes it itches and burns." He's really matter of fact about it. And so it's not necessarily crass, but those of us that still have imagination can certainly let that run amok. And it certainly is kind of yucky. And that's kind of the extent of the lyrics, Frankie. There's not much beyond, there's really nothing beyond that verse and chorus combination. Is this a set of lyrics that you would rate as somewhat disturbing at all? Even though it's kind of matter of fact upon reflection for me?
No, I do not find these lyrics disturbing.
If anything, they stand in for us to learn from.
Exactly.
Yes, that beautiful sound could only mean one thing. It's time for Primates Takes. If you would like your take on the track up for discussion read on the podcast, all you have to do is go to patreon.com/Primus Tracks. There are many ways to support Josh and Frankie over there. The universal constant is this right here. Primates Takes. Let's hear from some of our primatrons, that is, Frankie, excuse me, about lust stings. Our good friend Sculligan Val says, an unfortunate earworm. She continues, I get that one line stuck in my head from time to time, like an intrusive thought. I like the song in terms of instrumentals and vocal delivery. It has a sort of intentionally plotting feeling that I enjoy. Thanks, Val. Zach M. Frankie says, for me, the highlight of this track is 1000% Skerrick's sax solo, which is so utterly filthy that it somehow rivals the lyrics in that department. Also, reconnoiter is one of the most Les Claypool words in existence. Now, that's a primate take. Thank you, Zach. Edwin Allen Richards IV, our landed gentry, says, a rad jam that makes my skin crawl a little bit. Saw the Fancy Band play this live in Arizona back in the day, and Les introduced it by saying, this is the first song I ever wrote and the only song I've ever heard that mentions herpes. I don't think I can think of any other herpes songs, Frankie. Legitimate ones, at any rate. Brooks Delight time, Frankie. Brooks breaks it down as the following. I got the herpes on my pecker. Now Josh has to read that aloud. Thanks, Brooks. If you missed it the first time, nice, there it Brooks. Is again. John Shreve says, I mean, who doesn't love a song that amounts to decision-making leading to a doxycycline prescription? Like the couple weeks one would need to wait before knowing the gravity of their decision, this one is kind of a slog. No wonder Chaney doesn't like it. That's a good point, because I failed to mention that, of course, once you have it, you're a carrier, and it lies dormant for long stretches of time and can activate after your immune system has been compromised by something else. Just like my shingles, Frankie, I had a bout of COVID, and not long after that, shingles reared its ugly head.
Oh.
And you can get shingles numerous times. Doesn't sound delightful, doesn't sound at all fun. So for those of you out there, if you're old enough for the vaccine, get that shingles vax. Live cuts for
a jam vehicle.
Live cuts for the jam vehicle. Live cuts for.
What's going on here?
There's the short version. Frankie, you've sent me 2 live cuts of Lust Stings, and we're going to hear them now. Our first is from the Roxy, 2006. Is that Boston?
Boston.
Good old Boston. Now, when you were selecting cuts of Lust Stings, what were you looking for?
Bass solo and good audio quality.
Let's hear this one and judge for ourselves. I mean, it sounds pretty good to me. Did I hear some envelope filter in there, though, Frankie?
An envelope filter delight, yes.
I'm out. Changed my mind. Just kidding.
Well, you gotta check out the bass solo.
You had me in the first half, I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, you don't get that on the record.
I thought it was going to be all envelope filter hanging on that one note, and then he took off in a cleaner fashion. Nice stuff there. That was fun. Very syncopated as well. Our second bow of lustings is from Frankie's fictional box set of Whales and Woe bonus tracks or live cuts or whatever he's going to call that box set.
Just before you play this solo, listening to Les delivering the verse on the Roxy version that we just played,
Yeah.
would that qualify as a staccato?
I'd have to listen to it again. I wasn't listening too closely to his vocal
Just
delivery.
the syncopation between the rhythm and the way that he's delivering the lines. I don't know if that could be described as a staccato.
Staccato is usually reserved for those clipped notes like da 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 da, as opposed to da 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 da.
Oh, okay.
Da. So
All right.
I wouldn't. I'd have to listen to it again. But the way that he delivers it on the record is much more smooth, legato style. I wish I had paid attention the first time, but I didn't. Let's hear the bass solo from this mysterious date and location in the fictional Whales and Woe box set. That sounds like some nice fan service there.
Absolutely.
Give them what they want in the middle of less stings, and then the show's over. And we're all in a daze. Interesting cuts there, Frankie.
I really enjoyed these lusting bass solos. I think they're great.
They certainly are lusty bass solos, for sure. A lot of energy in those, for sure. A lot of energy of a mysterious source, I suppose one could say. Well, I guess I could say this, Frankie. Lustings, go get a prescription because you've been tracked. Next time, the dirges continue.
I'm going to open a can of worms since we already discussed worms on this episode.
Oh, good.
Is Whales and Woe a unofficial Fisherman Chronicle, or is it not? In my mind, it's always been.
Wow. That's going to defy the fandom. Be ready. You really have opened the metaphorical can of worms.
That's gonna make some people furious. I know.
Some people are gonna like you. Some people are gonna hate you. Either way, you're gonna be eating those things.
I just said something so brave yet so controversial.
Tune in next time to find out whether of Whales and Woe is indeed a Fisherman's Chronicle. What better cliffhanger is there? Primates, primatrons, people of Earth, listeners, non-listeners, thank you all so much. We'll see you next time. Later days.
Willie Mays.